in the chat there.
Yes, I don't want to overlook our American Sign Language interpreters, Patty Shore-Caden, and she will be passing off the night with Candace Whitlow. So both ladies have interpreted many events for us, and we are honored to have them as part of our team.
Thank you very much. I'm so really happy to do this. So yes, here it is. Let's welcome each other. Happy New Year, happy solstice, happy King Day. We are so really lucky to share this space with each other. So what I'd like to do right now is I'm gonna mix this up unless somebody pulls a fire alarm or says no, okay? We're gonna do some things. Remember when I told y'all to grab a little pen and paper or something to write on? Even if you don't have a pen and paper, you can use the notes in your smartphone, or you can open up a document, whatever it is, it's your business. Ain't got nothing to do with me, but I just want you to participate with me, okay? When we do, no, Heidi, correct me if I'm wrong, at some portion, will we see our guests and we'll do a Q&A and all of that kind of thing, or am I making that up?
This is why my husband got me a coffee cup for Christmas that says you're on mute. So we won't, when it comes time for Q&A, I can unmute people and let them ask their questions themselves, or they can put it in the chat, whatever they feel most comfortable with.
Okay, great, fantastic. Just want to say thank you for that clarification. I just want to say, like in your name box, and we've all been doing the Zoom thing, but just to go over a few things. If you can, just simply write the name in which you want to be addressed in your Zoom box. So that means the top right-hand side with the 3 little dots, however you want to be addressed. And I know that this is a league of women voters, but whatever gender pronoun you embrace, we totally welcome that, and we make absolutely no assumptions and don't want to misgender anyone. I also would like to do the very best I can to just set a few other rules, and that is, I certainly can't guarantee a safe space, but we can encourage a brave space. So we want to ask you to be honest and share your point of view. We want to ask that you refrain from using any sort of hurtful language, especially when it comes to racial swears and things like that. Just, keep in mind that you might be recounting a story, but even in recounting a story or sharing some point of view, it might be hurtful. So, just let's take a moment and think twice. Do your very best to be present. I know we all have families. We have a whole lot going on, and we are tired of the Zoom room. I get it. So as a matter of fact, we're just gonna take a quick moment. I'm gonna ask you to step back from where you are. If you don't want to stand, or if you're not able to, that's okay too. However you're seated, just ask you to take a moment to, we're just gonna breathe and shake from the day, okay, y'all? We are 18 years into 2021, and we still here. We here, all right? So let us just come together and take in a deep breath for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold that good breath and release for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And take your arms, if you can, and stretch towards 0 gravity, and you're still breathing. That's good, that's good. Breathe. And just drop your arms. And breathe again, reaching up, 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 breathing. And drop your arms. Clap your hands together, shake. Get them together like that, real good. Okay, like you rolling that good old dough, and you about to make some good old, I don't know, some pretzels. You making something good. You making something good. And give your face a nice massage. Yes, get your face. Mess up your baby hair. Mess up those pretty eyebrows that you got drawn on, or maybe you didn't. Oh, it's okay. Just mess it all up. Yes, honey. Just mess it all up. Yes, yes, yes. And be gentle around those eyeballs. Let me look at y'all. I don't see you, but I trust that you with me. Yes, yes, yes. Go on down. Get that jaw. You've been talking so much. You tired of talking. You tired of listening. Let's get back there to those ears. Gently pull on those ears. Gently pull on those ears. And then I want you to clap your hands together and I want you to shake. I want you to shake out every bit of everything that is frustrating the hell out of you today. 1, 2, 3, go. Shake. Shake it like it stole something. Good, good. And now I want you to shake your hands like this. And we still breathing. And all that yucky stuff. If you have a window in your room or a doorway, I want you to take it and throw it out. Once again, shake. Don't worry, ain't nobody looking. It's just you and me. Shake harder. You got a whole bunch of stuff. Throw it out. Take a deep breath. Just stand where you are. Good. Okay, y'all. We're going to be talking about white supremacy and racism and blah, blah, blah. But we're going to do some shots first. Shot, 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 shot. Take a sip of water. Woo! You better hydrate or else you're going to dehydrate. Okay. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Here we are, January 18th, 2021. Very soon, we will have an inauguration of the 46th president. And you don't need me to tell you, there's a whole lot going on. And guess what? There's so much going on. You probably said, I ain't got time to watch no movies. I don't want to watch them. I can't, I'm full. And that is okay. We're still going to be able to have a fruitful conversation. We will still be able to hold space for one another. And we will hopefully walk away with a greater sense of investigation. None of us here can, in an hour's time, tell you how to solve racism, how to deconstruct the gender construct. We can't do all of that in just an hour. We can point out some things though, so then when you're watching these commercials or when you're watching these movies, you go, wait a minute. Why is this the way this is? Why? Let's look at it. And that's all we're going to try to do today. So if I may, we're going to do this really quickly. I'm going to set my timer so get your pen and paper, y'all. This might seem weird when you look at the recording later, but it don't matter because we're here together, okay? So get your pen and paper, okay? Time is a construct, but I'm gonna be your timekeeper. And I want you to write down this prompt or think about this prompt if you can. And the question is, what are you ready to let go of? So write that down. And if you don't write, that's fine. Just think about that question. I'll repeat it. What are you ready to let go of? For 30 seconds, I would like for you to write. Don't worry, no one will see this. This is for you. I want you to write. I will tell you when the 30 seconds are up and you are answering the question. Don't think about it. And whatever you do, don't stop the pen from moving. The question is, what are you ready to let go of? Go. And take a pause, pens down, very nice, very nice. Another question for you. Same rule. No one will see this, it's just you, all right? The next question is, who are you becoming? Again, who are you becoming? Go. Take a pause, pause for the cause. Very good, pens down, faces up, very good. We still breathing. All right, good. And here's your last question. Take a deep breath. I think we need a water shot. Ah, nice. Ooh, y'all some drinkers. I like it. Drink that water. That's how you defeat the man. You drink water. And our last question. I might ask another question. Don't trust nothing I say. The last question, my friends. What do you need? The question is, what do you need? Go. Make sure you're breathing. And let's take a pause. Pause for the cause. Put those pens down. Yay, thank you. Okay, remember, that's for you. So don't feel shy like you have to show it to everyone, that there's nothing like that. But these are questions I think are important. We are in the midst of, you have heard it everywhere you go, unprecedented times, all right? Though we know that there's nothing new under the sun, human beings are always going to be human beings. But we've decided during this time, it seems, that the status quo and the way things usually go simply won't do anymore. And so with that, there's a lot of what somebody might call turbulence, disruption. Then there are the other buzz terms, civil unrest, hashtags, political correctness. You don't know how to address this person. You don't know if you can say black no more. You don't know if this word is good no more. You don't understand why your niece say, please call me they. It's a lot. And I'm saying this with love. I'm not here to be like, yeah. Maybe I am a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a lot to embrace. And in order to move forward, in order to heal, we're gonna have to go through it. Many of you are parents, or you are parent-like figures for people, little people or young people. And so I think you're probably saying that they have more questions and you don't have the answers. Well, even some of your friends are asking you questions and you don't have the answers. Again, I don't have all the answers for you. I had a conversation with a colleague that's a part of this panel in one of our emails, and they said, I just don't know what to do as a white person. I just don't know what to do. And that is a frustration that I'm sure many white and white identifying people have. It is not a question that I can answer for you. All that I can do is hopefully honestly share some of my experience as an artist. And hopefully something might resonate with you. And if you feel right about it, we can ask some questions and see where it leads us. So before we get to, well, why did Heidi invite me? Why am I here? So if I can, I'll just share a little bit of background and share a little bit of where I come from. So my beginning with film, TV, and theater began when I was a very small child. In fact, when I when I was a little girl, bless my mother, she really didn't believe in much censorship. So she pretty much let me watch just about any movie or TV show that I wanted to. I, from my recollection, I was the only 6-year-old in the movie theater watching Charles Bronson movies with my mother. Okay, she just didn't. I think she felt like I had enough of a curiosity, and I guess she trusted that she would be able to explain whatever I had a question about. But I'm grateful to my mother for allowing me to pretty much watch whatever I wanted because from a young age, I learned that, especially with film and television, it wasn't just like, oh, I love watching pictures. I learned from a young age that movie making and television is diagnostic. I was like, it is meant for me. This is my little bitty self thinking this. I'm like, oh, they're making it for me to figure out so that then I can make it better. I really did think that from a young age. And so I was pretty boastful to other kids that my mother let me stay up to watch Jack Benny. And I watched The Honeymooners. It was always a double episode. I stayed up really late and I was able to watch Benny Hill. And I even watched MASH, even though I knew when MASH came on, I was just like, oh man, this is so depressing, but I still watched it anyway because I was curious about human behavior. But even with those shows that I just named, I watched those shows knowing that they were classics, knowing that they were black and whites. I mean, they were made years and years and years before I was ever born. But I knew early on that there was something hurtful about watching these programs. When I would watch Jack Benny, I'm like, oh my God, he's so charming. I love his takes to the camera, but who's that black servant guy? Who's Eddie Rochester? Who's that guy? The Honeymooners. Oh my God, Jackie Gleason could do no wrong. He was one of the greatest actors, and he was truly one of the great actors of our time. And I absolutely loved watching these four master clowns episode after episode just go at it and make me laugh. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. And then there was one episode I can remember seeing where Ralph was trying to board a train. And it was the only black actor I'd ever seen on the entire series. He was a porter, like a Pullman porter. And he had one line, and it was, yes, boss, or sure thing, boss. And I remember thinking, huh, I bet that guy was pretty funny. Well, I know besides the four main characters, they have all these other people that come in and do little bits, right? You know, the guys at the, all right, but the black guy only gets to say, yes, boss, all right. Benny Hill, oh my God, the funny Englishman gets to chase women around, and there was a whole blackface section of Benny Hill. When you're a kid, especially growing up in the 80s, nobody sits you down to explain to you what blackface is. No one sits you down to explain, hey, you know that Tom and Jerry cartoon that you just watched, Tom and Jerry, your absolute favorite cartoon of all time? There's a maid character, a mammy character on there that nobody's going to explain to you. Nobody's going to explain to you why all of a sudden this big black hand comes into frame and this character has a shrill voice. And it's the only time you see a black character on your favorite cartoon. Nobody's going to explain that to you. And so you grow up and you watch these images. You watch Walter Lantz cartoons, you watch Warner Brothers, you watch all of these cartoons, even the Flintstones, you watch all of these things, you're just like, oh my God, they're so funny, things were just so much simpler back then. And even as a child growing up, you're like, yeah, but it hurts. Something about it is off. And nobody is explaining to me why this feels wrong. So I was having this experience, even with MASH. I would watch MASH and I'm just like, okay, I get it. This is funny. These are adults. They're weird. They're in some war. They like to chase each other around and have sex. And there's a war going outside and okay. And I got older and I went, well, now wait a minute. Okay, MASH is a TV show based on a Robert Altman film. Robert Altman is one of my favorite filmmakers. Great. My father, a black man, served in Korea. I don't see any black characters on MASH. Sure, there was Spear Chucker Jones, in the film. And on the TV show, you had the occasional guest star. But I couldn't understand how it was that they were showing the horrors of war, but they wouldn't show me. Am I not an American? Am I not a part of this story? And then I had a greater curiosity. I was like, wait a minute. Why were we at war with Koreans? Every now and again, you just only see. And so I grew up looking at TV with a side eye. I grew up thinking, yeah, this is really good. I like the camera angles. I like the way it's written. I absolutely loved watching Stephen Bochco films. I love TV shows. I loved watching Hill Street Blues. Oh my God, I wanted to be on Hill Street Blues. But there was an imbalance there. I never saw a higher ranking police officer. Well, why that looked like me? I said, well, why not? My aunt is a cop. She joined the Chicago police force in 1977 as a black woman. And excuse me, she got her ass beat every day on the street. It was rough for her. So why am I not seeing that reflected in things? And that is just my experience. I here it is. If you ask who I am, I identify first as an alien, then as a Taurus, and then yes, I happen to have this beautiful melanated black skin. Yes, I am a queer person, but I grew up feeling like, TV and film may not be for me. So by the time I got to college, I went to Northern Illinois University and I studied theater and I studied dance. And when you go through a university setting where you are the only fly in the buttermilk, you are the only chocolate chip in that big old cookie, you grow up with so much pressure. There is an internalized battle that so many people like me, and I don't just mean those who identify as a black woman or a black queer. This can happen for so many people. Marginalized in any kind of way that you want. I don't enjoy the term minority. I think it's whack. But whether you are indigenous, whether you are Latinx, whether you are someone who is neurodiverse, deaf, hearing impaired, fat, transphobic, all of these things in which the zeitgeist and society will say, well, y'all ain't normal. So we're going to put you in the part of best friend, or we're going to put you in the part of, we're going to give you a powerful part. We're going to make you the judge. Don't worry, you're the judge in the TV show. But that is such a one-dimensional character. But that's diverse, right? It's a white TV show and we have a Hispanic judge, don't we? Here's one thing I want to say. Again, I can't solve it all, but here's what I want you to investigate. What is your idea of equity? What is your idea of inclusion? And what is your idea of diversity? I hear a lot of people talking about the dreaded word diversity. Let me take some water because that word just take my breath away and it make me cotton mouthy sometimes. Why? Because when you grow up, especially in a hyper segregated city like Chicago, my Lord, it's so exhausting. Like, it's exhausting. And you get to the point where you're just like, please, can I be seen for the merit of my work? Don't care if you think my work is crappy or not. That's all art is unstable, okay? David Bowie said that, okay? All art is unstable. So I'm not here to tell you what is good art and what is not. However, there is a problem in in our world, but there is a problem when it comes to film and television and even theater. Yes, sacred theater. There's a problem across the board. A lot of people think that diversity only exists in casting. Listen, I do not care about your all Black version of the importance of being earnest. I don't care. I'm sure it'll be a good performance, but we have to look past that. We have to figure out how is it that we get more folks behind the camera, okay? And when I say that, I'm talking, of course, I'm talking about women. I'm talking about always breaking down the gender construct. By the way, peace to all of my non-conforming babies out there. We see you, we love you. Especially all of my trans siblings out there, we see you and we love you. It's really important that we actually get folks that live these lives, if you want to just look at it from a casting point of view. And when I say casting, what I mean is the actors that you see on television, the actors that you see on whatever the program is. It is also important that we curate the stories that we see. There is a huge difference when a story is coming from the point of view of an individual that understands that pain or that joy or just some weird film, you know? Not all films, pay attention to Netflix, okay? If you got a Netflix subscription and if you got the time to tweet at them, you got the time to write them in the contact us, I want y'all to have a nice little conversation. Write your letter, honey, like it's 1953. You know when people used to just write letters about everything? Let's go back to writing letters. And I want you to challenge what it is that they're putting forth for Black voices. After the horrid murder of George Floyd, after we all witnessed that lynching, all of these companies went, race is bad, sorry. We're gonna do better. We're gonna curate all of these Black films. Great. You got a whole diaspora to choose from. but they often keep giving us films that are the same sort of genre. There is absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion, of for instance, the slave narrative. But not all Black films have to be about the slave narrative. And I say that with all due respect to my ancestors and everybody that fought to get me here to have King Day with y'all, okay? Everybody that came before us, whether we know it or not, they got us here. Our stories, oh my gosh, we have so many. But if you pay attention to what Netflix says, I said, damn, it's the same stories. Why is that? I have a hunch, I have a clue, I have an idea. In an effort to try to bring us all together, we think pain is the only way in. You know, there are more stories to learn about all of us. And so I want you to pay attention to this. It's important to me. And as we go through, ooh, time is a thief. I have some suggested readings and things that I hope that you will find helpful. And then Heidi, let me just ask you, what time would you like to pause so that we can Q&A? We can do that soon too. But I want to talk a little bit about the films that we suggested. I have some suggested books here I want to go through, but what time would we like to pause at so that we can converse?
Do you want to give 15 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's great. So great. So I'm going to take the next 4 minutes. Okay, water shot. So where did it all start for me? I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am an actor. I am a writer and I'm a director. So I've got my hands into a lot of pots. And when I was going to school at Northern in DeKalb, Illinois, I used to pass all of the Northwest suburbs. Okay, so shout out to all of y'all. That's right. Shout out to everybody. We are all doing the very best we can. When I was at NIU, I would go to the library. I don't know how I came across this book, but there was a reference book that I came across. Okay, this was before the internet. This was when it was dial up and we were, okay, shout out to Gen X. Okay, we like picked up books and there was a whole card catalog. And anyway, one of the books that changed my life and made me go, oh my God, I belong here. There is a book by the author. His name is Donald Bogle, B-O-G-L-E, B-O-G-L-E. I'm going to drop it in the chat too. And hopefully these books are still in print. But Donald wrote this really terrific book here, and it's called Blacks in American Films and Television. If you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend it. It is literally, it's an encyclopedia, and it is filled with wonderful pictures and images, and sometimes this commentary is a little like, all right, guys, shut up, but that's okay, that's fine. I mean, you know, write your own book, but it is a very, this book was printed in 1988. The book goes back to the earliest Black cinema. And this book right here, I would go to the library and stand in the same section nightly and read this book, because no one ever taught me about Oscar Micheaux. No one ever taught me about early pioneering Black filmmakers. This book has titles that you will not find on Netflix, okay? Some of them you might. You might even find some on Criterion, okay? Because Criterion is trying to catch up too. They're like, oh yeah, sorry, we only had X amount, okay, like everyone is trying to play catch up, and that's fine by me because you got a long way to go. So I want you all to see if you can get your hands on this book. It is, I highly recommend it. It just has, it has a lot. I also have a network to recommend for everyone. Um, First Nations network comes out of CBC, our friends up in Canada. And it is a basically, hey, who did that? Go ahead, Heidi. You better come on now. Thank you. And Donald is also the author of several other books. So Donald wrote a book on Dorothy Dandridge. And oh, here's a second title. All right, everybody take a deep breath. This title might be a little tough, but hey, deal with it. This one is called Toms, Coons, Mulattoes, Mammies, and Bucks. This is an interpretive history of Blacks in American films. Though the title of the two books are similar, they are two very different books. Again, this is a fantastic book that led me to study some of the greatest films that you will ever come across. Everybody, please go and watch the film The Landlord, 1970. The great Diana Sands and Beau Bridges, a baby Beau Bridges, is based on a book written by the great, her name was Kristen Hunter, and the screenwriter was William Gunn. If there are any horror film fans out there, okay, so now we're gonna jump all over because we got to get to open this up. I'm so sorry. Oh, we're gonna have to. I mean, so listen, we can do a follow-up conversation, Heidi. We can figure it out, but we can come back and revisit if I don't get kicked out the clubhouse. Y'all don't kick me out the clubhouse. Okay, but if you can get your hands, yes, shout out to Semicolon. That is a wonderful bookstore. Check out the chat. Get your hands on The Landlord. Hal Ashby, one of the great filmmakers, my favorite. He made this movie that changed my life. The book is it's based on a book written by this Black woman. The screenplay again is William Gunn. Bill Gunn also wrote a film called Ganja and Hess. And Ganja and Hess, and Ganja and Hess, I guess, I wouldn't say that this is a family film, I would say use discretion. It's a wonderful film, experimental film from the 70s, and I won't tell you much, it's a vampire film. And again, this conversation is about inclusion and what we see. And so, Marianne wants to know, can you repeat that book? You know what I will do? Heidi, how about I get you a list of all of these suggestions, and are you able to send them to,
yes,
and then we'll see if we can send them to everyone. We'll keep, thank you so much. We're gonna keep dropping things in the, over here in the chat. Okay, we got two more books I want y'all to get, okay? And then we're gonna open this up. Okay, so this one is not necessarily about film, but it is, this conversation is also about visual history and where we're gonna go. And this one is called The Black Images in Comics. So that is Friedrich Stromberg. Excuse me, I'm going to type in the, Frederick, not Friedrich. Frederick Stromberg, there's an umlaut there, but I don't know how to put the two little baby dots over the O. This book is intense, it's good. It has so many images from Storm to Huey and Boondocks to Little Black Franklin, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Franklin. You know, he's a part of the Peanuts gang. They have Franklin sitting at a separate spot in the, oh gosh, that always made me mad. Anyway, that's the Thanksgiving episode, but we don't celebrate that anyway. Anyway, see if you can check this book out. I would suggest going to your local library. I would also suggest always supporting bookstores. My big fat opinion is Amazon is a last resort. If you end up buying from Amazon, it is what it is. Maybe you can make a donation to some literacy. You know, if you spend $30 in Amazon, if you have another 5, 10, 20, whatever, you can maybe try to offset that, and absolutely try to support women owned and all of that. But see if you can get your hands on this book. It's really great because, as we know, comics and comic strips often get turned into movies, which is why we have Black Panther. Shout out to Stan Lee. Stan Lee was on it. The Black Tutors. So I am a big fan of Masterpiece Theater, okay? I grew up watching Channel 11, all right? Shout out to PBS. And I absolutely love period dramas. I love watching people in those big old clothes and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And the older you get, you go, oh, wait a minute. They were a bunch of colonizers. Oh God, this is complicated. This is not as, ooh, okay, they made their fortune off of sugar. This is tricky. This is tricky. And you don't see a lot of Black characters. And you just go, well, why not? Black people didn't just come out of nowhere. Asian people didn't just come out of nowhere. Like, you know, check this book out. The author is Miranda Kaufman, okay? The Black Tutors. Black people didn't land in England after the Second World War. Shout out to the Windrush generation, but Black people they've been around for a long time. So I'm giving these suggestions to you all because these are all things that go into how we end up seeing TV shows and films. And again, I want you to walk away with a greater sense of investigation. We're going to have part 2 of this conversation. We can get into Fargo and all of that other stuff, but right now I'd like you to start generating questions if you have them, or comments, or however we can hold space together. And I just want to leave you with this little thing before we open it up. I keep getting the question, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Do it badly, do it better, and then do it well. Try to listen. Try to open up your mind. Try to fight for everyone, okay? We have to fight for everybody, because if you don't fight for me, trust me, you're not gonna last long. If I don't fight for you, you're not gonna last long. So I'm going to turn this over now because my God, time just went by so quickly. I promise you we will have a part 2 of this conversation if you're interested, but let's get it popping. Let's get some water shots. Let's go.
While we wait for people to raise their hands or put a question in the chat, I have my own question.
Please.
So I find, as I've done my research or been involved with League and in politics, and I've had the discussion about why don't we have more Black or people of color leading us politically, it is tied to the entry point. And the entry point oftentimes is in internships. And the internships are more often than not unpaid. And so as a result, really only privileged people are able to get their foot in the door. And the same is true with entertainment. Is this something that we should be advocating, that we need a reform in our internship program?
Absolutely. I love this question, Heidi, because there's no difference in what you are describing, and especially with theater. So a part of this, and I say it with all of the respect because we really are going through it, okay? But during these race COVID wars, there has been a lot that we have unlocked and a lot that we have discovered. And one of those things is we have to do away with not paying people. We have to find a way to invest in folks and pay for their time. And it's the same thing in theater. It's like, why don't we have more Black lighting designers? Why don't we have more women that are sound designs? Like, my gosh, are you telling me I can't? I directed a play not a few short years ago. I wanted very much to have a sound designer um, that was a woman. I wanted to have a fight choreographer that was a woman. And it was so disheartening how it was just like, oh, well, it was like, well, why not? Why? And part of it is like you say, it's the pipeline. See, in America, y'all know this, the pipeline is real clear when it comes to going to jail. They don't have no problem recruiting people from the time that they're 8 years old to make sure that they find a way to go into a private jail. But when it comes to finding out more about what you were just saying, like, why don't we have, and Sharita says, you wonder why the pipeline is so guarded. Well, you don't need me to tell y'all that voter suppression, as we know, is real. We can't keep thinking about voter suppression being a part of just some period movie. You know, Selma was a wonderful movie, but that crap is still happening right now. Y'all saw what happened. Y'all see what's happening. And here's the thing. I believe you have to be a Hellcat. I believe you have to challenge each other and you have to bust it up. And that means you might have to step down from your position. That means you might have to do a little fundraising. You might have to call up one of your friends that have done well in life and say, hey, I need you to secure me $5,000 for the year to pay for X, Y, and Z for these kids to get through these programs. Because if we don't do these things, nothing will change. We will be having these same whack conversations until we are blue in the face. I want to see more distribution companies that are owned by people that look like us, the people that are on this call. We absolutely have to. We can't continue to hear, oh, well, you know, it's just an example. Black films don't do well overseas. Bullshit, Klaus. Excuse my language. If y'all got babies in the room, just tell them I'm a heathen. Bullshit. You cannot tell me that Black films and Black people don't do well overseas. Girl, next caller, swipe to the left. I don't want to hear that. It's trash. It's a lie. It is a breaking down white supremacy. It's insidious. You don't have to burn a cross on somebody's lawn in order to take apart. You know what I mean? It's insidious. So we have to look at everything, and looking at internships and entry level positions and all of it. Heidi, I think that's one of the great ways of going about it. Because it's like you said, if you are in a position where you may not be able to afford a 6-month internship, it's crap, it's bull. It's ain't nothing we can do about it. We're born into capitalism if you're born in the Western society, if you're born in America. I am a consumer though, so that I can do something about. So we can do something, we can push back on everybody. So I don't want anyone, especially in here, feeling like there's nothing I can do. I guarantee you, you can do something. Please, are there other things you can drop your comments or your questions into the chat? Raise your hand. We want you to be a part of this conversation. What else y'all wondering about? Talk to me. Well, I'm going to talk to y'all about, Sharita would like to know what programs they are to help more young people become aware. Very good question. Sharita, is your question about becoming more aware of the League of Women Voters, becoming more aware of arts or we'll see if Sharita will let us know if they're, what I want to know specifically, how they can, thank you very much. So Sharita wants to know, how can they get behind the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all something. In Chicago, in Chicagoland, we have CineSpace. CineSpace, 70 acres of land, okay? It is the second largest film production studio outside of Los Angeles. The owner is Alex Pisios. Just a moment. Pisios. Alex Pisios is the owner, and Alex is actually, and again, I will get some contact information and pass it along to you, Heidi. But Alex
Okay.
has been really great at investing in young people, especially young Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks, young people to get behind the camera. So he's helping them become union. So that's the other thing, my Lord, we got to have a longer conversation. One of the reasons why you don't see a ton of folks on the other side of the camera is because unions are very hard to get into. They're AFL-CIO, they're expensive. And, you know, unions are like, I'm in a union, so I'm in 3 unions, so I feel like I have the right to say this. Unions can be gangs. And it's like, you feel like you got to get jumped in and you like, how do I become a makeup artist? Well, you know, if you want to work on these sets, you really have to become a union. It's like, well, how do I do that? It's a weird, like, how you do it. But I tell you what, the great thing about this COVID race war time is that those walls are breaking down and there's so much more information that is out there. So if you happen to be on Twitter and on social media, they have a thing where you can type in your interests. So you can follow, and the algorithm will put it all together for you. So, for instance, if you're interested in becoming a screenwriter, if you follow screenwriting on Twitter, it just gives you a bunch of accounts and you can choose whatever you want to follow. But my goodness, it's leading to some great avenues of internships, how to apply for things, how to get into some of these unions. And that's the way it goes. We just have to we have to break down the gatekeeping is breaking down, y'all. It doesn't mean that we're there yet, but all of the guarded stuff is starting to break down. So the information is out there because we need more people on sets that look like all of America, and that's all of us. So we will get, I will put together a list of resources and just like get it to Heidi and disseminate it to the group. What else we got? Marianne. So how would you talk to someone who thinks a movie like The Help or The Blind Side are good movies? Okay, great. I know movies to suggest like Selma or Just Mercy, but what do you say to people that just, okay, I understand this question. Great. Thank you for your question, Marianne. Sorry. You know, The Help is a tricky one for me. The Help is interesting, The Blind Side. So what do we say about white savior films? We say, watch them and learn from them. Try to diagnose why you're watching a movie that's about apartheid set in South Africa, but you're following the white character. Ask yourself why you're watching a movie about maids and it's through the lens. And what I say to that, Marianne, is that, you know, white supremacy strikes again. And people don't like to hear that. You know, people don't like to ask me those kind of questions because, you know, my whole thing is I would have liked to help if they like turned into zombies and killed everybody. Like I was like, that, you know what I mean? I'm just like, now you've got my attention. Like, doy, like bring me, you know, and as an actor, I've shared this frustration so much. I'm like, I would just love to be in the film where I'm allowed to be subtle. You know, you go into auditions and they want you to weep and wail and gnash, and they want everything to make they want to make their white audience feel good or feel sad or whatever. We can't continue making things through a white Eurocentric gaze. So what I say to them, Marianne, is if you're going to watch The Help or The Blind Side, oh, I got a movie for you. I want everyone, especially those of you out there that have children. This was an early, this was an early film for me, and it just changed my life. I want you all to watch The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a film by the great Gordon Parks. Gordon Parks was I want y'all to go and look at Gordon Parks's photography too. Gordon Parks was a genius photographer, and Gordon's first film, The Learning Tree, it is a coming of age story. And it is about a young Black boy who has to, it's a beautiful film. It's shot perfectly. It is a film that has so many layers. And so for me, when people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you've never seen Gone with the Wind," I said, "Well, have you watched Five on the Black Hand Side? Have you watched Claudine? Oh, oh, you haven't. Have you watched Sepia Cinderella? That's 1946. You can see that on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Sepia Cinderella. That film actually stars my cousin, no joke. She's gorgeous. Her name was Sheila Geis. And my goodness, she was gorgeous. So, you know, I don't know. Those films are, and do they know about Debbie Allen's Hot Chocolate Nutcracker? I saw that live and in person a few years ago here in Chicago, and oh my goodness, it is a fantastic show. Absolutely. So we just want. I hope that people will see. Oh, I see something in the CNA. Okay, I see something in the Q&A, excuse me. Can you add some suggestions about Black artists in theater and some suggestions about what kind of theater you suggest we're exploring when we're able to be, okay, when we're able to be together again? Thank you for your question. That's a longer question. That's going to be a long answer. So I'm going to, again, type it all up and make sure I get it to Heidi. But I got a list of folks that I would love for everyone to keep their eyes on of all ages. Kareen or Karen, please excuse me if I've screwed your name up. Recommendations for shows for teens who needs their eyes. Oh, so Karen, Kareen, sorry. Fiore, I know that's flower, so I didn't screw that up. I would really give a look to The Learning Tree. I would start you there. It's a wonderful. It's a hard movie to watch. But I do. Kareem, yay, I got it. It's going to be a long process, y'all. And it won't happen after one. It's going to take a long time. I do recommend also watching one of the suggested films for tonight, and that was The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I was devastated after I saw that film. I lived in California for a very long time, and to me, that film is about what haunts us, and it's about displacement. And that is a theme that not everyone can understand, but many of us understand it. And it's just a masterful movie. It's shot really well. And so I don't know what age your teen is and what you allow your teen to watch. But what I'll do is I'll try to give some so-called PG or PG-13 recommendations. But I really recommend that you watch that movie. I see, I just want to respect time. It's 8:10. Are there any other questions or, Heidi, it's just going by so quickly. It's just not enough time.
Right. Well, my recollection is that didn't we always have a little bit of a time issue?
No, me? No. Time is, I mean, 1 hour goes by so quickly. Thank you so much for joining us, Marianne and Scott. Thank you.
So I really thank you for coming. I also, those of you who supported Black-owned businesses as well as our league by supporting our Party in a Box, which was curated by a female and locally owned company called Boxed. I really recommend. So the Black and Bold coffee, the brown sugar candy, Chicago mix from Let's Get Popping. The one thing that I will say that was a little disappointing to me is that in order to put this box together, for her to curate this, she had to go into the city of Chicago. She was not able to do that here in the Northwest suburbs. And I think that that is something that we should note and be aware of. We hope that you'll continue to be part of the conversation by either joining our league or by some other organization that you find is doing something for this cause. We are hoping to bring a chapter of NAACP to the Northwest suburbs. And while our programs are all free to the public, they're not necessarily free to put on. So we do welcome any support you can give us. We are a 100% volunteer organization. So none of us that work for our league are paid. So anyway, there you go. And that's it. We will sending y'all love, power, keep going. That's right. So I'll let Nick have the last word.
Breathe, keep going, take care of yourself. We love you. Thank you for having me. I will see you next time.